Hi everyone, welcome back to the Reclaimed Ranch. Today I have 4 different items that I have thrifted and we are going to flip them over for fall. So the first project is I got this little lamp and it's resin but it looks like wood and it's just round and super cute, so I thought we could go ahead and put some mushrooms on it. So I'm going to be using IOD's mold called Toadstool, and it has all these gorgeous different types of mushrooms, different textures, and so it's going to really pop out on that lamp. So the first thing I like to do is use some cornstarch to put into the mold so that the air dry clay will release a lot easier. And I know there's other things that you can use as well. I just prefer cornstarch because it's quick, easy, and inexpensive. So I'm going to go ahead and just do all that, and we're going to use some air dry clay, and I'm just going to push it into the molds and use my thumb to kind of push it down in there. And then these IOD molds have a rim that makes it easy to take the excess clay off, which I love. So then I just flip it over and kind of use gravity to help me get those out. And whatever's excess on there, I just get my little X-Acto knife and clean it up. And then I am going to go ahead and glue these on while they're still pliable and wet. That way it'll take the round surface of the lamp. If I let them dry and then try to put it on, it's going to just crack and break. So I'm going to go with my sturdy Titebond quick and thick glue, always my go-to, and I do have that linked in my affiliate links if you're interested in getting that. And I just put a bead around the top and down the base, use my finger to kind of squish it around. Then we're just going to mold it right to the lamp there, and it'll take that form really nicely. Now you do want to tape these molds down while it's drying. That way, if you're going to stand the lamp up, it won't slide down with the gravity. So I always try to do that. And then I just use a little tiny artist brush. I want to push it down, make sure that the glue is squeezing out. That way I know it's nice and tight against the lamp there. And then I just use my little artist brush to get the excess glue off. It does dry clear, but I just don't want a bead of glue sticking out. So I'm going to just work my way around the lamp and use all the different types of mushrooms, and then we're going to get to painting it, which is the fun part. So I'm going to go in with my Fusion Mineral Paint in the color Putty. It's just a really nice neutral color. Now, if you were to do the same project and you like bold colors, bold like the reds and the greens and the yellow mushrooms, that's totally fine too. I'm just a neutral person, and so I like to stick to more of the earthy tones. So I'm going to go with the Putty, and I am going to put 2 full coats of this on. That's going to make sure to cover that darker color of the lamp. And so with the Fusion, it has its primer, sealer, and paint all in one. So it's a one-step, so I don't have to seal anything, which is nice. That's one of the reasons why I like to use it when I'm doing these molds. And I did want to let you know that before I painted, I let the molds with the tape sit there for about 2 hours. And they're not fully dry yet. They're still a little bit pliable, but I wanted to make sure to let that glue adhere for quite a while before painting. So the fun part is painting the mushrooms, because you can just get real creative. And so what I did was I picked out a couple of different types of greens and a couple different types of browns in the Fusion paints, and I am using water to kind of water it down and make it more of like a watercolor. And so it just kind of makes it blend a lot easier. That's a baby wipe that I'm using there, and then a little cup of water that I dip it in. So this is just the fun part, to get creative and have some fun. All right, for the second project, I have a little tin, little square box and with a handle, little wooden handle. So I thought it was cute. Don't like how it looks right now. So what we're going to do is we are going to upcycle it into a little fall basket. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that handle for now, and I'm going to be using Fusion's metallic paint in the color bronze. And it's a really pretty, like, it looks like an antique gold kind of. And so it does take 2 full coats to cover that chevron pattern completely. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 2 full coats, let it dry, and then we're going to do some stamping, which is going to be fun. And I'm going to be using the stamp called Fruitful Harvest from IOD. It has been retired, so if you were lucky enough to get one, that's awesome. But there are other stamps that you can definitely use. And then I just used the IOD's permanent white ink, and that's really going to pop against this bronze gold color. So once you put your stamp down, you just want to hold it while the other fingers work to push the image in. And then I always take a baby wipe and clean it right away. That way it's not going to have as much staining as it normally would. So just going to work around, be creative, and use some of these fall images. And just have like one image on each side. That way you can kind of switch it up if you want to. So it's just a fun little shelf sitter that you can put like acorns in, or little pumpkins, some foliage, just to have as a filler for your fall decor.
Headlights on the highway, if you only knew. Being back here always makes me think of you. When the world is sleeping, do you think of me? With the road it's coming back again, coming back to me. I remember the long drives, the late nights in your car. I remember it all. Windows down, empty streets, you were all I used to know. You and I, forever, forever ago. And you used to drive me home.
I wanted to show you about how to use the masks that come with the IOD stamps. They're these little plastic covers that are formed just to each stamp shape. And so if you want something to look like it's going in the background, like I did with this leaf here, I wanted it to be behind the acorns, you put the masks on first and then you stamp over it. And then once you take that image up and take the mask off, then it looks like the leaf will be in the background. And you can do all kinds of things with these. You can, play around with them. And so it's kind of fun to be able to have that effect, visual effect on those. So I thought I'd
drive alone, you and I, forever, forever, forever ago. This town's so quiet, this time of year. With the road ahead's coming back again, coming back to me. I remember the long drives, the late nights in your car. I remember it all. Windows down, empty streets, you were all I used to know. You and I, forever.
So for the handle, I'm just going to take this antiquing wax that I bought from Walmart, and it's a little too light for me, so I wanted to kind of darken it up a little bit. So I'm just going to take a baby wipe and wipe it all the way around that handle. And I actually wiped it onto the metal part of the handle itself just to kind of darken that up as well and make it a lot duller. It was kind of a shiny silver color, so that kind of aged it up a little bit and made it look more fall.
Love for you will last forever, forever, forever ago. I fell hard, I fell fast. I wonder my love for you will last forever, forever, forever. Windows down in the streets, you were all I used to know. You and I forever, forever ago. And you.
Okay, so the third project I have today is going to be this little coffee pot, teapot thing that I bought from a friend of mine on Whatnot. And I thought the color was perfect for fall. So I'm going to go in with one of the redesigned transfers called Thankful Autumn. And I'm just going to use up, I've had this transfer for a few years, and so I'm just trying to use up what I can. And I thought this Get Cozy was like the perfect color choice to match with that teapot or coffee pot. So we're gonna just put a few transfers on here, and that one's pretty much gonna be done. I will seal the transfers with a Rust-Oleum 2x matte spray, and that will keep it from coming off in the future. But I'm pretty much gonna use it as decor. I thought about just opening the lid and putting some wheat inside. I thought that would be pretty cute, but I do the Get Cozy on this side, and then my camera shut off, and on the other side I ended up putting a pumpkin with a leaf and an acorn, so it turned out pretty cute, but you'll be able to see that at the end. So the fourth and final project for today is a little Ray Dunn shelf sitter. Got it at the Goodwill bins, and it's kind of beat up a little bit on the corners, but not too bad. But I thought we could turn this into more of a fall shelf sitter. So I've got some drop cloth, and I want to just put that on the inside where it shows the number one teacher, and on that we're going to stamp a saying. And I was going to use my X-Acto knife, but that wasn't working out so well, so I just took my scissors and kind of eyeballed it and cut cut the rectangle out. And it does have a frayed end on the bottom, so I'm just going to continue with that look. I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to take the ends and pull some of the threads off so that it has that frayed look again right here. And then I also use my little finger sander, my handy dandy finger sander, and that's going to really fray up those edges and make it all cohesive. So I do need to cover up the number one teacher, so I'm going to go in with my Fusions Victorian lace, and I'm going to do 2 coats of the white before I can go ahead and put that on there. That way it doesn't show through any of the cloth. I don't want to be able to see that, so we want to cover it up. We're going to go in with the redesigned stamp called Inspired Words. Now, I don't have this one for sale on my website. I'll have to look it up to see if they still sell it. I bought this stamp set from a lady who was clearing out her old stock. So I'll check and see if they still have it because it is kind of a cool stamp. But anytime you have a brand new stamp, you want to season it. So you'll take it off the cover and use a fine grit sandpaper and just kind of rub across the stamps just to give them a little bit of a grit and grab so that it can hold the ink a lot better. So I make sure to do all of them at the same time. That way I know they're all done and ready to go. But the word I want to use on this one is the kindness. It does fit really nicely into that little area on the shelf sitter. So I just make sure first and double check. So I have my little thin mount that I'm going to put it on. And then, yep, fits perfect. And we're going to go ahead and ink that up and put it onto our drop cloth. So whenever you're inking onto fabric, you want to make sure to put enough ink that it can kind of soak down into that fabric. I'm going to be using my IOD ink called China Blue, I think. And we're going to just kind of, I eyeball it. You can center it however you want. I just kind of eyeball it. And then again, place it down, use one hand to hold it while the other one pushes and then lifts straight up. And that leaves a perfect one. So we're going to color the outside rim and the rest of the piece with the Willow Bank from Fusion. It's a very, very pretty deep blue with a green tone underneath. And I think it matches really well with that ink color that I used. So this is kind of some old paint, so I did have to use a little bit of water to help it flow a little bit, but we got some great coverage with it, and I was able to use the rest of it up. So that's my main goal. So I'm going to go in with my Type Bond Quick and Thick. I was trying to figure out what type of glue to use. I didn't want to use hot glue because it leaves that big bead that you can see. And I didn't want to do spray adhesive because it's too hard to get in just one little area. So I ended up doing the Type Bond Quick and Thick and placed my drop cloth down on top of it. And once it sits overnight, it's going to have a good adhesion. So I wasn't worried about that. And then I thought, well, it's kind of a little plain. It's cute thin, but it's a little plain. So we're going to use some of those florals from that Cozy Autumn transfer from Redesign. And just kind of put some white flowers on the ends on a couple sides and give it some life. So So my final step for that was to just seal up the transfers. So I'm going to go in with my DIY's liquid patina and just go over the transfers because the Fusion paint already has its own sealer in there. And then once that is done, it's complete. So I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will be back on Friday. Not sure. It's probably going to be some more thrift flips. Um, so let me know what your favorite project was this week. Mine is definitely this cute little mushroom lamp. It was fun to do. It's always fun to paint and be creative. And hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you back on Friday. Take care, you guys. Bye.